Yeah, yeah,
Okay, let's get started.
uh.
Solution architects meet the people. So, Zach, going through college, what kind of profession were you actually shooting for?
So this is kind of a funny story. I was a little bit all over the map. Didn't really know what I wanted to do. I think I probably changed majors 4 times, from thinking I was going to be a dentist day one getting into college to figure out pretty quickly I didn't want to clean teeth. So got out of that into some business related majors, communications, and ultimately ended up in economics, but by no means at all did I think I was going to end up in consulting. My internships in college and the work I did shortly thereafter, I was a touring musician through college, so played a lot of music. I ended up working for a record label. I created a music festival that still goes on today at my alma mater. It's Charity River Cleanup. So I was fully in the music scene, and then I graduated and kind of got into doing some of that music work, and a lot of that fun where I was writing publications turned into let's cold call radio stations for airplay time. Very quickly realized that's not what I wanted to do, and then kind of made my transition into Workday.
All right. Yeah, so talk to me about that trend actually got your foot in the door with Workday.
Absolutely. So, luckily, one of our partners is my sage, older, wiser, less funny, less charming older brother. Um, I jest. He ultimately, when I was working in the music industry, I didn't really love it, and he was a Workday consultant for at the time it was CPSG, and he had graduated, started that, moved to Dallas from Virginia, and he really loved it. And he was like, "You'd be really good at this. You should give it a try. I might be able to get you an interview on a referral, and if it goes well, you can get a foot in the door." So I interviewed at CPSG, became a consultant there for HCM security and benefits, and never looked back since. I love working with Workday, the product, the customers, doing transformational consulting.
Awesome, awesome. All right. So now these are questions specific to you. So put on your founder hat, your CEO
It's all
hat.
mine.
Um, so Solution Architects Group is a pretty unique model, especially for the Workday ecosystem, and I'm possibly the only one of its kind as far as Workday services partners go. So what made you even want to try this particular model?
Yeah, that's a great question. Ultimately, I'd say there was a few major tenets that I saw some gaps in the ecosystem that I really wanted to try and tackle. In my career as a consultant, I took on all sorts of different roles. I was working on phase ones, post-production work, mergers, acquisitions, divestitures, security redesigns as a functional consultant at Mercer. And I left there onto DXC and started to put on a sales and solutioning hat. So I was on the front end of a lot of Workday deals, finding out with customers, what are your needs? What modules make sense for you? How can you get more out of this? Ultimately, which took me to Cognizant, managing some AMS teams there, and creating several different service offerings. And in that time, the issue that I kind of found and why I bounced around between a few different firms is I kept running into the same problem of I felt like there was a ceiling for individual contributors who, really loved working with the product, wanted to take it farther, wanted to try and get more out of the system, wanted to be that valued resource for the customer. And it seemed like the message I was kind of receiving was, once you hit that senior architect level, um, you know, you either manage people or you get into sales. And it takes you further away from the product, further away from the customers you love to work with, doing what you love. So I wanted to put something together for other consultants like myself that removed that ceiling on their career and allowed them to continue working with the product and the customers and to exclusively work with top level talent. So that was kind of the first component of what I put together and successfully did so. We've had over a 95% consultant retention rate. We're kind of that final landing spot for senior architects that want to continue working with the product and take their career farther. Um, we average 6 years leading Workday projects per resource. So I mean, really, really unparalleled in the market. Not something you see very often. When people tend to come here, they're here forever. That forever home. So that was kind of the first component of things. The second component was on the services offering side. I felt like that there were some gaps in prescriptive consulting styles. Because a lot of the time, depending on the project type, you get a lot of resource changes, especially on the post-production side. So I wanted to find a way to keep consultants or a group of consultants based on expertise in, area that they want to work in, aligned to accounts from the time they decide, hey, I want Workday to continuing to get value out of it 4 years later. So we've been able to successfully do that and keep the trusted resources aligned to accounts so that time to ROI for our customers is much quicker than typically seen in the marketplace. Because, rather than say, hey, I need help with this, here's the backstory on what we've done the last 3 years. It's the same person they've worked with for the last 3 years in that area. So it really gives them that prescriptive and flexible support.
Yeah, that does seem very unique where there's the longevity of not only resources, but even as customers evolve through different engagement types, whether it's a phase one to AMS to staff aug, there's still a resource consistency that seems very rare.
Absolutely. And that's the beautiful thing about it is our teams work together across a handful of accounts, but we like to keep people honed in to supporting industries that they've worked in. So we try to take a different approach to resourcing. Just because Workday doesn't mean compliance, regulatory, HRIS, or financials background for customers in certain industries. You can be incredible with healthcare, but if you've never worked in private equity, I wouldn't expect you to support a private equity customer.
Yeah, that makes sense. So thinking back to day one, getting this thing off the ground, getting the first work through the door, what about this journey has lived up to your expectations so far?
Oh, I would love to hear you answer this question too. You've been here with me since the beginning. Um, so honestly, it's kind of been a whirlwind. Things happened faster than I could have imagined. There were some lesson learns in the first couple months. As we were putting together offerings, putting together our team, and trying to put the tenets of what are our values, what do we want to stick to, and that's been what we've stuck to, and we'll continue to do so. I'm really pleased. I could have never imagined in the 2.5 years ago that I started this that we would become a Workday services partner in that quick amount of time, and we would have built out a team, with over 60 resources, averaging the level of experience we have, and the ideas brought to the table. I'd say the biggest thing that I can look back on is being organizationally flat and transparent. I think that was what really set us apart because I could have, clung on to this is the way I want things done, not taken ideas, not been open. And, we probably would have still been successful, but would we be where we are today? Absolutely not. I think it's the same thing as in consulting. And when you're looking at like organizational change management and transformation, building a team, building a partnership, more importantly, you really just you've got to know what you don't know, and you've got to not be afraid to ask for help. So, I mean, point in case, you're our chief marketing officer, and you head up our change management practice. If I was managing our LinkedIn, it'd be a lot of static text, and we'd probably have about 20 followers.
Yeah, and that's a great point of the transparency and the agility that we've been able to operate because of that. And I imagine that because you have held I guess, the direction of the organization so loosely and allowed so many other people to lean into it, there's had to be a lot of surprises along the way too that necessarily didn't align with your original expectations, but because of the flatness of our organization and input from others, the organization has been able to take multiple directions that you wouldn't have seen. So, what have been some of those bigger surprises?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say I take a show me mentality, as do all of our partners. I like to see ideas put to practice. I'm not a flat no on things. As long as I mean, if it's in the best interest of our customer and the person believes in it and they're willing to put in the work, let's pilot things. So that's how we approach things. When we've had opportunities for new service offerings, new industries, for example, we cracked into the automation game through our strategic relationship and becoming a global services partner for an automation platform, which, would I have thought that this was the right move a year and a half ago? Because I was worried, is this going to take our focus away from Workday? It just made us more competitive and more reliable and a better resource for our customers. I'd say that's probably the biggest jump we made. And kudos to, you and Blake Baldwin, you helping him put together, what makes sense for our customers. How do we get ROI out of this for them? And Blake, our automation services practice head, I took I let go of the reins with that. I knew that he had the mind for it and had the vision, and he's done an excellent job of building out a service offering that makes so much sense. Because I mean, not only are we automating Workday now, we're automating full stack for different, UI-based platforms that customers are using. And, Blake's got a good pilot program to kick the tires to continue to find, can we do this before saying, yes, we can. But most of the time, based on my understanding and what I've seen and what I'm hearing from customers is yes, we can is far more often than no, we can't. So I would say that was the biggest thing was to show me, like put together an ROI. Like there's been other service offerings. We've had people come up, like for example, Brian Padilla, one of our partners, put together the pay the people offering, really revolutionized how people looked at EAO and payroll. And I'm with any service offering, Luke Lean, or one of our partners, had an idea to be an augmented controller, sit on the front end of deployments, lighten the load for CFOs and controllers so that they can, do more transformation and make more strategic decisions and focus on their duties. So I mean, we've definitely gotten outside the realm of, oh, you need help with Workday. We'll help you out. It's much more transformational. That was my goal, was to be a very transformational prescriptive organization, but I did not know that we would bleed into so many areas of transformation outside of just Workday to continue to bring value to our customers. So it was surprising, and the amount of time that it happened and how quickly we spread. But I will say everything does seem to ground back to Workday and that being the primary expertise of our team. But a lot of them are CICs, former CFOs, SHRMs, former recruiters, former HRIS team members. So they've got insight and they know what customers are looking for and products out, and what we can do to help them. So the goal, with the Workday practice is continue to get more out of the product and continue to grow it, but we take a very transformational tact and track to it. So, we come in and we look at it from the top down versus here's what we know. Let's figure out about your organization, what industrial requirements are, and what are some of your competitors doing that maybe you aren't.
Yeah, no, that's great. Um, so shifting a little bit, the culture of the group, the work environment here is understandably unique in its own right. It's a group of incredibly driven, passionate, entrepreneurial experts, constantly challenging themselves to be their very best. So, with that kind of group of folks all banded together, what have you appreciated about working with that kind of group?
I would say I never have to ask people to speak up, which I love because there's nothing worse than being on a team call or a team happy hour and one person's talking for 30 minutes and everybody else is silent, doing a W-2, working their day to day, putting in their 9 to 5 and going home. That's not this group. This group cares. They've got skin in the game. It's a partnership. So literally and metaphorically, I'd say. So it's been incredible. And I love the ideas, the drive. And it's just been a great learning experience. There's so many things I've learned about that I had no idea about. From revolutionary things on change management and training, the way to go about, working with organizations to, learn more about software as well as their own team and their roadmap, to learning more about adaptive insights and, some of the cool functionalities within that to regulatory and compliance side things that, I worked with some doing SOC 2 audits and doing security optimizations, but in a lot of different areas, it's just been incredible to work with these experts who, are the best in the game. And they're not afraid to share their knowledge. They're very generous with it.
Yeah, and I think like you're saying, people not afraid to speak up and those sorts of things. That could also introduce some challenges. So, what have
Yeah.
been some of the challenges of working with this kind of somewhat hard-headed entrepreneurial group?
Yeah, there's definitely some challenges, but they're always easily overcome, I'd say. We've got a very joint and collaborative approach to everything as a team. The biggest thing I've seen is when people have an idea that they absolutely love, the number one challenge is control. Because a lot of people, if they've built something that they really believe in and love, they want to hold on to it. But the only way something can grow is to take it as far as you can and not be afraid to get constructive criticism and to get, collaboration, open it up. Because there's people, especially, with how diverse and experienced our team is, that bring a ton of value. So whenever it happens every now and again. I may have a partner that has an idea for something, and I say, well, have you taken it to the rest of the team? And they've taken it as far as they can, and it's a wonderful idea. There's a little bit of reticence and hesitance, but ultimately everybody always gets on board, and it's very proactive approach, and it's positive. I don't think we really have any negative politics, anything like that, with how flat we are. It's always just, how can I help you? How can we work together? How can I be a part of this? So I'd say, it's there. If we do have any doors, they're screen doors. You can see through, knock in. Can I help out?
I love it. Awesome. All right, so shifting more toward kind of there have been some significant events in your personal life since starting Solution Architects Group. So what would have been some of those big milestones that you've been celebrating along the way?
Oh, absolutely. It's been a whirlwind in my personal life too, I'll say. I'm fast paced on both fronts. From the time starting this, I got engaged to Taryn, um, who is now my wife. Got married to her last May, so that was really awesome. And prior to us getting married, we lived in Charlotte, great city, but we knew it wasn't our forever home. So, when we were getting this off the ground, my wife worked remote, as is our organization. Try to get together as much as possible, but we are ultimately, remote. So I moved around quite a bit in Airbnbs to find that forever home, put some furniture in storage, some in a U-Haul, checked out, several different cities, and ultimately ended up down in Tampa, Florida. So, I'd say that has a lot to do with my sunny demeanor. Just getting that vitamin D year round. And that's been awesome. Also had several new nieces and nephews over the past couple of years from both my sister and my brother, which has been really cool. I told Tyler, he's got to start training them on Workday as they're getting older. Got to get some more consultants in the door. I know they're 7, 5, 3, and 1, so we'll have some more on that front. And my sister's just had a baby a few weeks ago, so a lot of really good things. A lot of pressure though for children on the wife and I, but not there yet. Got some more to do with the career, more to grow, but it's exciting. And then, seeing our teams' lives grow too and getting to be a part of that. I know you have a child on the way as well. Incredibly exciting. Have another solution architect baby in the mix. And we've had several team members, have weddings in the past year. Some are getting engaged. Some, have bought a new house. It's just really cool to be able to get an insight into the personal lives of our team and see how that's growing right along with their career.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So what do you like to geek out about?
Oh, this is a good question. I'm a nerd about a lot of things.
Yeah, what's the thing that if you find someone at a party that's interested in the same thing, you're like, okay, we're gonna talk for the next 2 hours about this thing.
Oh man, so there's a couple things. So I do love brewing my own beer. I'm a bit of a nerd with that. Do a lot of like my own logos. I typically gift them. So like holidays will come around, I might turn somebody into a caricature. So that's always fun. So I really into that. I'm also very avid skier. So I do love to ski. Hiking as well, and pretty much anything outdoors. I'm into it. I love being outside. Love hiking. Love surfing. Love, started to get into running. I don't think running loves me, but give it a college try. But pretty much anything outside, I would say. And then the brewing of the beer. Um, but I'm trying to give more of those away to be more friendly to my waistline. So
Awesome. All right. Okay, so these last 10 questions are like a lightning round. So
lightning
they're
round. All right.
all either or. So I'm going to give you two choices of the would you rather this or that, and then you just pick which one you would prefer as fast as you can for 10 of these.
We
Okay?
can do that. I'm ready.
Okay. All right. Would you rather a beach vacation or mountain vacation?
I live at the beach, so I'm going to say mountain vacation.
Be in super cold weather or be in super hot weather?
Super hot, without a doubt.
Always be 10 minutes late or an hour early.
Hour early. I hate being late.
Always be underdressed everywhere you go or overdressed everywhere you go.
Overdressed, gotta look your best.
Okay. Would you rather go to a sporting event or to a concert?
Concert,
Okay. Stay up late or wake up early?
wake up early.
Eat pineapple pizza or candy corn?
Oh, pineapple pizza.
Okay. um, watch Netflix or Hulu?
Netflix,
Okay. Read fiction or nonfiction?
fiction.
And only eat your favorite meal for the rest of your life or never eat it again.
Never eat it again. I like too many things.
All right. There it is. That's
I
the
love it,
10
man.
questions. Okay. And to wrap up, now that you're loose and comfy and conversational, I just want you to state your name and your position at Solution Architects Group.
Absolutely. My name is Zachary Caveness. I am the managing partner and founder of Solution Architects Group, and I still dabble in Workday consulting every now and again.